dun. Well, hello, hello. Tracy Noriega here, paying it forward to you on this online virtual retreat, first ever, where I am giving you permission to choose you and just to nourish yourself, your body, your mind, your heart, your being, and yeah, just, you know what, honor yourself, make yourself a priority, wellness, self-care, and you know what, here is the lady, the coach of confidence, I would say, amongst a whole bunch of confidence, color, and I mean,
Yeah.
take it away, Michelle Charles Gustafson.
Well, thank you, Tracy. And it's the best to be here. I love being here. Welcome everyone. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that you are putting some time aside for yourself. Time is a limited resource and we give it all away. As women, we give it all away to everybody else. So the idea that you're here is
Mhm.
amazing. So, welcome.
Yeah. Yes. Welcome to, and you're just going to get chock full of nuggets here with Michelle because that's all she does is deliver that. So, I want to begin by saying how I met her, and it was through a mutual friend who told me about her book coming out. And as some of you may know, I have a little vlogcast that I do, a little Facebook Live of Power to the Peeps. And she told me about her. Oh, you got to meet her, Tracy. You'll love her. You'll love her. And she's written a book and and she'd be perfect on it. And so I look up Michelle, and all of a sudden I feel that confidence thing happen because I see she's pretty established. She's got a following. She's written a book. Well, this is her second book. And all of a sudden I could feel that, like, wait, this is out of my league. And to see that your book was named Show Up Confident, I was like, okay, universe, that's a funny one. But I loved your book, and I want you to explain because so many things have happened. We're all 1 year living pandemic, which is what led to your book, and so many people doing what they're doing, myself included. What would you like to share about that
Oh my
process?
gosh. You know what? Writing the book was amazing. I had this book in me for probably 2 years. I knew I was on the way to birthing a new book, but I didn't really know what it was going to be about. And this one really was about honoring the things I've learned, especially from my parents, about confidence and being able to own your space in the world. It was about healing myself and some of my older demons, and it was about hope. And it kind of came at the perfect time as we were all living through pandemic life. And we all needed to exhale and just then breathe in one tiny piece of hope. And so for me, it was cathartic. It was a journey of my, I always say it's my heart on pages. But what I found is that women, even men, said it was healing for them as well. And in the book, I talk about the fact that nothing new comes without fresh confidence. And so it's important for everyone who's here to listen to know that as we are starting to emerge from this year and things are starting to be like, the horizon, like I said, the world is kind of waking up now. It's like, well, we've been sleeping for a year. Now the world is waking up, and so are you. And I think this is a perfect time, Tracy, for your summit because, especially with women, we really do feel down to our bones when things are changing. And after a year of what we've had, change is the catalyst to the next. And so, actually, chapter 2 is called The Beauty of Change. Okay. So, owning that beauty of change lets us know that we're in our own evolution. And in order to see what the evolution holds for us, we have to be okay with taking an adventure. Okay. And taking an adventure of diving into what it means to be resilient for us, what it means to believe in ourselves again, what it is that we have that is our own unduplicatable magic, and then being able to own that and then use that in a way that makes our lives fulfilling. And I have had so many clients come to me this year because they've said, I'm sick of it not being fulfilling. I'm sick of going through the motions. I'm sick of doing all this stuff. I got all the degrees, all the accolades, all the pieces of paper,
Mhm.
all the, positions, and I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And I think after the year we've had, people just want to get serious about getting happy. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. And it's necessary, right? So the book came at a right time for me, but it also came at the right time for my communities of women and the people around me. And it's changing people. And I sometimes you don't think your story can, but turns out it always does.
It does. It really does. And it was beautiful to see your story unfold and then to see such I think this is one of the things a lot of women out there can relate to. And I know in just beginning this kind of entrepreneurial journey is like you think, okay, I got to get that confidence. I got to, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go get it from somewhere. And then there is a bit of the, okay, fake it till you make it. Right. But then if that's not really embodied and in you, you can only keep doing that so often. Right. And the thing is learning about people like yourself. And then I was in a Les Brown speaking community, and even to hear him, who's been
Yeah.
speaking for longer than we've been alive. And
Right.
and he was saying how he was having doubts about himself
Yeah.
doing that program. And it's just
Yeah.
like, it always comes back. So I also want people to hear that it's not a one and done deal.
No, confidence is not a thing you get and keep.
Mm.
Okay, so I want everybody to give that up. That is a myth, right? And people are, I want to get confident and then like it's going to stick. It does not happen that way. It is the best thing I can liken it to is like when you exercise. Okay, so you go down there and you lift the weight and you do your arm curl, and after a few weeks of intentional arm curling,
Right.
okay, that of doing it with proper form, okay, and the number of reps, you start to build a muscle. Okay, and the muscle doesn't pop right away. It starts to get stronger, but you still don't have the lines. The lines are my favorite, by the way.
Mhm,
Like you don't
mhm.
have the bicep line yet. You don't have the
Yeah.
you don't have the lines yet, but you're getting stronger. It's not until you have consistent and disciplined and focused effort over time does the muscle line start to show. So confidence is the same thing. There is a way to get to build your confidence over time intentionally. And I think this is what most people miss, because most people think that, you're going to just by doing something, you're just going to get confident. It is not by doing that you become confident. And I say this in my book and I say it all the time. Confidence comes from finishing. It's not
Mm.
doing. You have to finish something. So when you finish something, you learn. Just like when you did the arm curl workout, you do one day, you finish. You do the next day, you finish. Oh, you learned that your form has to be a little bit better this day. And so with that, you finish. Every finish teaches you something.
Yeah.
At every moment that you're learning something, in that finish is where the confidence grows. So what I shared it with people is that you want to look at confidence and building it in that, is the things that I'm doing helping me learn? And am I seeing it as part of a learning journey? If you're not seeing it as part of a journey, you are just doing stuff. Okay. And you will have that fading confidence where it's like, I feel good in the moment, or I feel good for these 10 days. And then when I'm not doing it anymore, I don't know where it went. And so you mentioned like the fake it till you make it. That's one of the myths of confidence that it just drives me nuts. Like it's the pet peeve of mine, because you actually can't fake it until you make it. It doesn't work that way. The most actionable, unshakable confidence comes when you know it. It is a sureness. Confidence is a sureness. So when you are faking something, you are not sure. You are just doing, right? And so what I want people to understand is that changing that lens and going, what can I be finishing that gives me some sureness of self? Where in order to be sure, you have to be learning. This is a journey. Okay. And so for all the things that are out there promising you confidence, I want you to look at them. It could be weight loss journey or do this program or do that program. I want you to ask yourself if you're actually doing something or if you're learning about you in the process.
Mm.
If the thing doesn't ask you to learn about who you are inside, it will be fleeting.
Mm.
Because we can all do stuff. We can all eat less food. We can all make a smoothie in the morning. But
Yeah.
did it ask you to learn about yourself?
Yeah, like
That's how you
why
know
are you
things are
reaching?
temporary.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, why are
why?
you reaching for that right
For the
now? You know,
chips.
yeah,
Yes.
I'll be in the pantry and I'm like, wait, what am I doing here right now? Right?
Right? Yes. It needs to ask you about you. And if it doesn't,
Mhm.
it will be a temporary solution. And Tracy, you know,
Oh
I am
God.
only about permanent results for people,
Well,
no
you know,
temporary solutions.
right. And I mean, you bring up all these good points, and I think there's something else to be added in there. So, one thing I hope that you listening here is that it is a learning journey, right? This is an adventure. This life is an adventure, you know, and it is an evolution, and it's learning and evolution means inherently there's change. And it's one of those things like we want to get there, but guess what? That means you have to change. You know what? There has to be some kind of change occurring. And even with the pandemic happening, and it feels like we're stuck in one way, it's still asking everybody to change. You know, how are you going to
100%.
look at it? What do you want? You know, you bringing up about the fulfillment, that's another reason for this retreat. It's like how many of us have achieved these things in our careers, in our families, in even maybe in our personal life. Oh, I did that, you know, I ran the
Yeah,
marathon, and I, you know, tick tick tick. But why
totally.
do I feel like this? Like, why do I not feel fulfilled? And
Yes.
I believe one of the other myths is about that we believe that we have to, and as women mostly, give, right? And this whole myth about you, if you want to be a great mother and family, you have to sacrifice. You sacrifice yourself. You sacrifice yourself for everybody else's being. And it's like the farthest thing from the truth because it
It
builds up
is.
resentment and guilt. And then it's this
Well,
vicious
and here's the
cycle.
reason. The reason is that those external factors are external expectations,
Mhm.
right? There's external expectation and then you've placed them on yourself without asking yourself what is important to myself. And that shift into where you choose yourself first is the very first decision
Mm.
to be a more confident woman. And I will tell you, it's a decision.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not something you fall into. Whoopsies, I'm going to be
No.
more confident today. Ladies, you are deciding. You're either deciding to choose yourself first, give yourself
Mhm.
permission to honor yourself first, or you're not. That's just the two decisions.
Mhm.
And the idea that you give yourself away, I know that there's that whole thing. It's like you can't pour from an empty cup, and the whole. You've all heard
Mhm.
that before,
Yeah.
and you've all put it back in the. Well, that's academic, Michelle. Like everybody's heard that before. I know I can't pour from an empty cup. That's great, but do you know what it means? You can't pour from an empty cup, and what that means is that you need to make a decision to choose something different. And
Mhm.
the first decision you ever make is to commit to yourself first.
Yeah.
And when doing that, you're renewing who you are, you're energizing what's inside you, and then you're preparing yourself to give it away to others. It is really the only path to success. That's the only path to success. Otherwise, you get well where you're stuck. The self-doubt, the aimlessness,
Mhm.
the confusion, the burnout, the all the things. I
Mhm.
mean,
Well, you know,
and yeah,
it brings up two things because one is that big shift of choosing yourself first. Because
100%.
I know, I mean, you know, I didn't even realize to what extent I wasn't putting myself first because I thought, when I got confronted with it, from a behavioral therapist that we had for our nephew and watching, me give, trying to find all the resources. And I was running myself into the ground. And finally, the behavior therapist asked me, what are you doing for you? And I'm like, well, I meditate every day and I journal, I go on my bike ride. Yeah, no, what do you do for you? And I'm like, I just answered you. Like, did you not hear?
Mm-hmm.
No, no. What kind of fun do you have for yourself? Like, what do you do? your time. And I'm like, that is my time, but it's just like a to-do thing,
I tick it
right?
off the box, yes. And I
Mhm.
think that's some of I like to uncover about self-care for women too, is that
Mhm.
there's a lot of buzz about self-care these days and taking
Mhm.
care of yourself and making sure. But I want women to realize the reason why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay? It is not a to-do list. Just check it off because the internet told me I'm supposed to. I'm a woman, so I'm supposed to take a self-care moment.
Yeah.
The reason why you're doing it is to renew yourself. And to dive a little bit underneath that, you are developing a relationship with yourself.
Ooh.
That's the
Mhm.
reason that self-care, that's the reason why you're doing self-care. It
Mhm.
is renewing a relationship with yourself. And I talk about this in the book about the confidence to believe in yourself. It
Mhm.
comes from a deep inner love of who you are and what you have to offer. And in order to love yourself like that, think of any relationship you've ever been in, any important relationship, husband, partner, girlfriend, bestie. How has that relationship come to you? It's come through conversations over time. It's come through exploring over time. That's what self care is meant for.
Mhm.
It is meant for you to develop a relationship with you. Who are you?
Mm.
Where have you been great? Where have it has it not been great? What did we learn there? What hurt us? What does it mean for us? What is important to us? What's our values? What is the virtues? What outcome do we want to
Mm.
give? You can't know that about yourself if you don't give yourself the opportunity
Yeah.
to develop a relationship. And then so then the it begs the question, because women are like, okay, yeah, I get that, Michelle. How do I develop a relationship with myself
Mhm.
though? Well, you got to talk to yourself,
Well, I was gonna say you
right?
have to take time, right? A
You have to take time.
relationship takes time and,
Think about dating.
dedication. Yeah, and a commitment.
100%.
Yeah.
You can't do one journal session and think, okay, I should know myself by now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, did you know your partner after one date?
Right.
No. Maybe you didn't even like them
Yeah.
after one date. And I find this with women too, is that when we reframe the idea and the reason why you do self-care, that it is to develop a relationship with yourself, and you kind of frame it around this idea of like, well, dating and the thing, sometimes it's difficult, and I get it,
Mhm.
because sometimes you might not like who you're looking at in the mirror.
I was gonna say relationships are difficult, right? And that was part of that person. And I totally get you because I've called it being your own best friend, right? Because we're always there for our girlfriends, right? And we can
Yeah.
say all this stuff to them that they need to hear and, put down the things that are going on to be there for her and, listen to her and hold a space. But then I'm like, why can't I do that for myself? Why
Hmm.
is that so difficult? Why am I telling myself I need to just get over it? Why are you
Yeah.
crying? It's like, hey, you got stuff to do. Like, it's not a big deal. And we would never say any of those things to our
No.
girlfriends.
Well, and the reason is that you're too close to it, right?
Yeah.
So this is the whole forest for the trees thing. And what I was saying, being able to take yourself to 30,000 feet. Most people can see the person in front of them that they're befriending, and they can give the advice and give all the things. And the person can, get some perspective. Because here's what's happening when you give advice, is that the person is getting perspective. You're not necessarily
Mhm.
answering and fixing it for them. They're just seeing themselves at 30,000 feet, right? Through your eyes. Well, it's a skill to be able to do that for yourself. And the thing about skills, guys, skills are learned and practiced. Tracy's smiling because she's heard this before.
I'm like, take practice.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right? Because Tracy knows skills are learned and practiced. And there are principles to skills. If you don't know principles or have processes or tools in the skill, you can't do the skill.
Mhm.
So to develop a relationship with yourself requires skills like being able to detach yourself from the situation, being able to listen to yourself, being able to ask yourself questions and understand the difference in voices in your head. Is it the voice of my limited self, or is it the voice of my new self. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those are skills.
Yeah.
And if you don't have tools to be able to activate the skill, you stay stuck in the old behavior. And so, for me, as a confidence mentor and someone who helps women unlock that, them living in that good, truest self, we're always implementing processes that you can practice to develop the skill. That's how you get change that is permanent and sticky. Otherwise, you're into wishing. I wish it was like that. How come I can't stick? And then all of a sudden it's into your belief. It's like, how come I just can't get it together? How many of you have said that, please? How come I just can't shake this off? How come I just can't get it together? And as soon as you ask yourself that for anything in your life, ladies, you have to say to yourself, what skill am I missing?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're asking yourself and you can't make something stick, you're missing the know-how. And if you don't have the know-how, it comes up to how urgent you are at choosing, making a decision to get the know-how and how much it's costing you. Because if it's costing you enough, you'll make a new decision and you'll find it.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a good point because we don't realize that we're practicing the other side of it when we're not, right?
100%.
And I've always said
100%.
that to my nephew. I'm like, whatever you practice at, you get real good at. So, I mean, that's positive behaviors and negative behaviors. And so the self-talk, I've caught myself on that and go, oh, there we go again. So, it's like, hey, what could we say instead? What would you say to, and I can pull up a list of whoever it is, anyone but me, right? Anyone but me. But I think, one thing that's in your book, and then we can move into like how you help women and how they can all find a community, because that's the other part, is finding to practice these things. If we don't have, you talk about, and anyone who's been doing any kind of self-development and stuff, you hear about your influence, your circle of influence. The people closest to you influence you the most, for better or worse, right? And if you're looking to get new skills and go to
New level.
New level, yeah, let's say that. A new level, a different perspective, something new and different, then it's not going to be with those people if they don't want to come along. So it's really important to have a community where you can go and you can be accepted for wherever you're at, that they'll meet you where you're at because they want you to, to get there. So what would you say to these ladies out there who are like looking for those kind of places, that they can just kind of step in and feel what it is to be in those communities that you offer?
Do you know what? I've been mentoring women for 23 years this
Oh
year.
my God.
I know. 23 years of helping women be better. Okay. Here's one thing I know for sure. Women do not change permanently without women changing in the same way. Okay? So if you want to change in a way that sticks, not fake it till you make it confidence, not it's here today and then as soon as I stop something, it goes away. If you want to change permanently, you must be around women who are changing in the way you want. The for sure is that the fastest, best way to get there is to look at someone who has the exact result that you want and go get it from them. Okay. Which means that you have to know the exact result you want. And if you don't know that yet, that's your first task. Okay. Because getting somewhere new means that you have a gap in knowledge and in skills. There's a gap. You're here, where you want to be is over here. And to fill the gap can take years, decades, millions, eons, if you want it to. But if you are on purpose with something, and you have a group of achiever type women, which is why they're burnt out. Okay. There's a characteristic there.
High achieving woman. Yeah.
Right. Like high achieving women like getting somewhere. Okay. I like getting from A to B. And many times they like getting to A to B efficiently. I'm not here to fuss around, right? Well, what you need to be able to see, ladies, is that from A to B, there's a gap in the middle. And the gap is closed by knowledge and know-how and that support, okay? Those three things are what you need as ingredients for the cake. And then what you get to ask yourself is to make a new decision. And What is the gumption I've got in order to say yes to those three pieces being in alignment? And so, having those people around you, I talk about in the book the 5 C's that it takes really to have supportive relationships.
Mhm.
The first two are the most important: people to cheer you on,
Mhm.
okay, and people to champion you. The other ones have to come in after that. But those first two, if you don't, and that's the feeling of community that you get, right?
Yeah.
Without those two, you feel like you're out here on your own, or it doesn't give you permission to validate yourself and your own value and your own
Mhm.
worth. Okay. The championing part, meaning that people are waving the banner for you, it's like, go Tracy. Okay. It's different than cheerleading, in
Yeah.
which case they're just like, go you, yay you, keep going. Okay. A champion will champion not only what you do, but who you are. Okay.
Right.
They will see you at your depth and who you are. Without those two, you feel like you're not sure what your value is around here. Okay.
Mhm.
And you start to question everything about yourself. So, having those first two of the 5 are the most important to have in your support system. And then the other ones come along after, right? And then when you add that to know how and to your own gumption, and you have that support, then you're able to make an actually permanent change in something. And I know that in my communities online, and that I have like my sort of full group community, and then I have my client community who are
Mhm.
my HS elite women who have learned to show up in the best way possible with their image and their personal brand. They're a smaller portion of the community. And then I have like my inner circle of women who are growing to that very, very next highest level. Each one of those communities has characteristics in common, but they have the same characteristics as what it would take for a supportive relationship to make a woman say yes to herself, to give her permission to say, I choose me first.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm choosing myself forever. Okay.
For-
So, yeah, forever.
Forever,
Forever.
ever, ever. Yeah.
Well, I
Not
mean, it's
just
your
today.
life.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's your life. And I think sometimes we get clouded in that we think we're going to be here forever. We are not. Hate to break
Yeah.
it to you.
So
Time is
true.
limited.
Mhm.
And so for all those people, and all those kids you want to impart and change, you have to do you first
Yeah.
in order to do any of that changing. And that firstly involves you seeing yourself as who you are becoming, and then honoring that every single day, and then working with full intention on how you express that in your life. And
Yeah.
when you do that, the people around you will catch it.
Okay, right there. I was going to go there and you already went there, so I'm going to jump on board. And this is something I'm talking with most all of the speakers when and can fit it in, and it organically happened, is the other piece of it is to realize, and that was a eye-opening and just like aha moment to myself was too, was, by choosing yourself first, by making the habits and it known to your family, hey, I need to do this. I'm doing this for me. This is my time. I don't, I'm not going to be disturbed. And if you have to leave the house, you have to leave the house. But by doing all these things that innately you kind of feel like selfish, or what are they going to do? Guess what? There's a microwave. They can heat up something for dinner. Okay. And there's cereal, for God's sake, if it really comes down to that. They're
Always
not going to
surreal.
starve. Right.
Yeah.
So, but is that by doing that, we are also teaching and we're modeling. And we forget that in and of itself is the biggest way that we impart.
Yeah.
We
This is
teach by
my
modeling,
Yeah, this is my biggest form of parenting advice
Mhm.
to any woman. More is caught than taught.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Mhm.
You can tell them all the things.
Right.
You can fall over yourself with all the actions you think you're doing. All they will see is tired, exhausted, grouchy, crabby,
Mhm.
and that's what they catch.
Yeah.
It is important to know that their eyes see more than their ears hear. What are they seeing you do?
Yeah.
What are they catching from you? Are they catching someone who is balanced, who makes no apology for listening to herself and paying attention to herself? Are they watching someone embrace her creativity, her given talents and gifts? Are they watching someone tote around her journal around the house? I just think about my daughter, and I hear this a lot, especially with women with daughters, because they're like, I want my girls to feel strong and the thing, right? And I'm the same. My daughter's 13 years old, and it's funny because I told her, I said I was going to do a summit talk for experts, and she's over there eating the cereal, and I said, well, what do you think I'm an expert in? And she goes, I don't know. I'm like, classic 13.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
know. Yeah.
And I said, seriously? Seriously? And she goes, confidence. And I said, okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. And like, they don't want to say, right? You see how they don't want to say. They don't want to say that they're learning from you. I have never told her my job title in ever, right? But she got that. I make no accident that I tote around my journals. I walk around with my pens. I let her see me in the morning completing my journal exercises. I let her see me making intentions for the day. I let her see me dress with intention, right? These are the things she will copy. And I understand that. She might not know why she's copying it.
Yeah.
That's okay. Because by copying it, their habits, like you said, that are infusing honoring herself, paying attention to herself, just like it was infused to me. My dad infused it into me. I infused it into her. I didn't have to say it. They're catching it. So,
And
ladies,
yeah, no, you go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
more is
Ladies,
caught than taught.
more is
More is
caught than taught. And on that, I'm just going to add to that too, is the asking for help. Because you know what, we are not good at that, and we need to delegate more, and we need to say, I need your help. I need your help with this. Can I get your help with this? And it teaches them to ask for help when they need help.
Yes.
And that's a big thing.
Well, and I think too, some of the asking for help is about infusing the idea of personal responsibility in them as well.
Yeah.
The one thing I share with women about personal development is that while you can have communities that support you, personal development is in itself personal. The word is personal, which means that you are taking your own responsibility to grow. You can't crowdsource your growth. Okay. So while you can be in, I know I've been saying this, I've been saying this over the last few speaking engagements and things, because what I'm noticing in the world is that people want to grow. People are sad, people are worn out, people like it's a crazy year. And so what they're doing is they're getting together in groups to feel better,
Right.
which is good. But the personal development part of actually becoming more, becoming yourself, can never be crowdsourced. That is something that you have to do on your own. It means that you have to make a decision, choose the tools that you believe will take you there, find the mentor she has the outcome I want, choose to take it on. Create the opportunity for your own investment in your own growth, and do the work yourself.
Yeah.
That can't be crowdsourced. The support can be there, but they can't make you grow.
Yeah.
And what I'm noticing is that many people are getting in the groups, being around all the growth, but not growing. It's because you have to take personal responsibility, just like your kids. You're asking them, I need help, or, I need you to do the dishes. You're teaching them to take personal responsibility in the kitchen. You have to take personal responsibility for yourself too. That means choosing yourself. That means giving yourself permission, all those things.
All those things. Yeah. And that it's really an inside job, right? I mean, the growth thing is, you really choosing you and you really committing to yourself. Back to that discussion about a relationship. It's like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to cultivate this relationship because
Yes.
it is important to me and nobody can do it for you. I don't
No. And
want
here's
to.
the beauty. I think here's the beauty is that because I know a lot of times we talk about where we are and why you need to move down the track of building confidence, but really the reason why you want to move down the track is if you believe deep down you have something more to give. Nobody changes without a reason,
Mhm.
right? And this is the point where what I do steps in because it's like if you have the kernel of yeah, but there's more for me.
Mhm.
There's more I want to do. There's more people I want to help. You have to first own the way you help someone. And that in itself is a confidence building personal journey to take personal responsibility for. What is the way I intend to help people? And then once you own that personal responsibility, once you own the fact that, yeah, I'm here to do some important work, then the courage has to become, how do I stand out for it? Because many times women will go, I have something important to give. I want to do something here. And they'll get only that far
Mm.
and then they'll shrink, right? Or they don't know how to execute it. So then, well, maybe it's not that important. Wrong.
Mm. Yeah.
Owning the fact that you have an important contribution to give and then having the skills to put yourself out there comes next. That comes next. Okay. And they can be infused together. But if you don't at the first say, I have something important to say, then the idea of being able to show up and put yourself out there, you just never will get there. You
Yeah.
just never get there. Right. So when you mix them together, though, they become a very powerful combination because you become on purpose in a very intentional way. And people see that when you show up in a certain way. And that's why I talk about that in the book and
And there you
how,
go. We're back to that C
yeah,
word, confidence, right? The big
yeah,
C. I mean,
yeah,
it's just right there all the time. So here we are. And I want to just wrap this up. So, ladies, it is about finding a community. It is about choosing yourself and immersing yourself in that feeling, but also being committed to it and practicing it. So
yeah.
I invite you to, I'm going to have links down below for Michelle's. She's got a podcast that is just wonderful. And it is, I mean, if you enjoyed this talk, it's juicy nuggets like that all the time, right? Her Facebook group, same thing. She's dropping it in there. And then she's got, are you still doing the book reading club?
I do them either in the group or on Facebook Live generally.
Mhm.
And actually, I've started to do book readings in through my podcast.
Oh,
So what I've because the book is Show Up Confident, what you guys will know is that the subtitle of the book is The New Way to Get Ready for Your Day and Your Life. Because what you may not know is that it is possible to mix how you get up and dressed with your intention for the day. Remember that your contribution is important with your intention of the day and that it actually powers your ability to create more success. Most people are walking around here putting on a top and a bottom, and I will tell you there is more to it than that. And
mhm.
so, in my podcast and in my book and in my Facebook group, I talk about that connection, that dress in confidence connection, that you have the ability to put it on when your clothing symbolically means something different than just clothing. It's proven by science and in practice by Hue and Style. And so I share that with you because one of the first ways that women will start on a confidence building journey is to first see themselves as important.
Yeah.
See yourself as important. That seeing is believing cycle is so vital to you being able to hold value and self worth in yourself. Because when you see something, your brain believes it.
Yeah.
Did you know that? It
Mhm.
believes that. So
Mhm.
if it sees you as someone who is on purpose and valuable, it will start to act in a way that creates it. And that creates more motivation and more action and more intention and more results. So all of that is wrapped up. And I know I have a gift for you where you can actually take a free workshop of mine called Y Style Workshop, and it'll show you how how connected they are.
Yes.
That what you're putting on your body is connected to how powerful you are acting in your life. And do you want to harness it? Most people don't, but my women do. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, and you know,
Power.
that's another one of Michelle's beautiful gifts is the power of color and bringing out these
Hmm.
other. So, I mean, it may look like it starts with confidence, but it continues. And I'm just gonna put that little, teaser out there because then once you get in her community, you start to see all the other things that she incorporates with that, and to see how you can become your full package, so to speak,
Yes.
right? All
Yes.
those things you want to see and feel and experience about yourself is there, but it starts first with the choice to choose you and do you, because only you can do you.
100%. You got to
So,
make that choice and you got to make that decision with you first. Nothing
mm,
else happens. Nothing
mm.
else happens before you do that.
All right. So closing it up, ladies, you heard the invitation. Is there anything else you want to leave for these women to just, yeah, to tell them they got to choose you. You got to choose
You know
you.
what? I want you all to know that no matter what all the life has shuffled for you, how the priorities have gotten tossed up in the air and they're like puzzle pieces on the table. This right now, in time, in space, in history, is a perfect time for you to see your life in a new way and to see yourself in your life in a new way. And I know it can feel chaotic, but there's something about the chaos that the chaos is trying to tell you. It's trying to tell you to start the discovery process because you can't get to that newness, that next step, that opportunity to change without first the discovery. And once you get to that discovery, there is a path to success on the other side of it. You just haven't seen it yet. So just start the discovery, start scratching the surface, start going underneath, start doing things that you've never done before.
Hmm.
Okay? It's a perfect time.
Yeah, and I'll just close with saying that, which I say a lot, is if you want something new and different, then you've got to do something new and different.
You
So
have
just
to.
get curious, you know. Yes, the change can seem a little overwhelming, but that's the only way. And guess what? When you've got a community of like-minded people who are there championing you on and cheering you on, guess what? You can get through it because they want to see you get there too. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Michelle. I know all the great things you've done for me personally and for the women that I've shared the space with. And so I invite you to do the same. Do something new and different. Choose you and, start exploring. Jump into Michelle's communities, all the links down below, and her little free little class there too. So learn something about yourself and how you get dressed in the morning. All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Tracy, for having me. We'll
Yeah.
see all you
And
soon.
all you later. And so stay happy, healthy, positive, and enjoy the rest of your never before lived day. See ya on